The beer of Bourbon Country, it says on the label.
I could see why. I could see bourbon drinkers. Okay, so
It's sweet, but not overly sweet, too.
It's like a ho, ho, ho and a yee-haw.
and that's how you start the episode.
Yeah, I think so. There it is. Inspired by the adventures of our nurses, therapists, and techs, A Beer with Atlas is the only healthcare traveling, craft beer drinking podcast. Each week, we'll open a few beers, talk about the brewery and the style of beer, and then dive into some research curated specifically for each episode. In the end, we hope each one sounds like a conversation you'd have with your friends while enjoying a few cold ones.
All right, final week of Christmas beers. Welcome to another episode of A Beer with Atlas. I'm Rich.
I'm Brian.
And I'm ready.
Are
for
you?
Christmas.
It is here.
It is
Yes.
here. Did it sneak up on anybody else?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Not
yeah.
me. I've been planning for this since Halloween.
Well,
Since July 5th.
Yep.
You do, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Brian decorates his house immediately after the 4th of July.
Pretty much.
Right.
No, it's just been such a weird year this year that all holidays were a little bit different. And
Yeah.
so it definitely snuck up on me.
In a weird way, they all kind of melted together.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Which is kind of how the year has gone. The year kind of just melted into one blob.
I mean, if we're being honest, this is the only time I leave my house is to come and record these.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I don't go and see anything. I don't do anything. So this has been, for me this year, I found out one of my biggest playlists on Spotify was my Christmas playlist. I made it in 2014. I started.
Okay.
And I built it over 3 years. And it's the only playlist I have that Spotify said, no more. You can't add any more songs to it. So I had to build a second one, right? And then I have an Atlas Christmas one that's a condensed version, like my favorite Christmas songs, whatever. My big, huge Spotify playlist, somehow I lost 7,000 songs off of it.
Okay.
And I've been rebuilding it.
Oh.
So I have listened to way more Christmas music this year than normal. And that's a lot. Normally I listen to a lot. Now I'm in it.
Could you imagine, like, the guys, like, somebody at Spotify knows, right?
Yeah.
Because you know, right? I mean, that's, you
They have
just,
to do something,
you just
yeah.
know, right? Could you imagine those guys? Like, hey, that Peterson guy's trying to put more Christmas music on. No, turn that off. No,
Can't
he
do it.
can't do anymore. No.
But I did find a lot more stuff that I didn't even have on the initial, because 5 years from now, they've added a lot of stuff to Spotify.
Yep.
So, oh man, it is so good. It's about, as we speak, it's about 340 hours.
Wow.
Let's put the link down in the description
right.
down
Yeah,
here.
we'll do that.
It's called, let's see.
He's like searching through all the files in his brain.
Right,
with
exactly.
1,000 different playlists he's made on Spotify.
It's something like Holiday Fist Fight and Spiked Eggnog or something like that.
Nice.
Did you ever watch Star Trek Next Generation when Data would be like, and he would like processing, and they make his eyes go back and forth
That's
a little
about
bit?
what I was
That's
doing.
exactly what happened right there.
So I was trying.
Or
Yeah,
it's like the SpongeBob episode where he's like trying to remember I think it's his name. He's trying to remember his name, and it goes into his brain, and there's like 500 different little SpongeBobs like running around, like opening file cabinets and stuff. Like,
trying to find the information. That's what's happening. It's like my 13th one down. I know
Okay.
that when I added in there, but
John will put it in the description down
Yeah.
there
All right.
for you.
That'll be cool.
Click the link.
At all.
that's my go-to one. That's got all the old school. It's got stuff from like 1900 to anything that's recorded before 2015
Okay.
is in there, and then anything after that is in my other one that's called Mistletoe Jams.
Mistletoe Jam.
Yeah,
I
That's-
I see what you
that's
did.
See
awesome.
what I did there?
I
Yeah.
see what you did there. Is there any Mariah Carey?
Yeah, of course,
Oh God.
of course.
well, I mean, you could just walk into any grocery store at this point and hear Mariah
Anywhere,
Carey.
any
Anywhere.
public place, or my house. Well, what do you say?
So this one comes courtesy of Brian. I would never ever have chose this. I don't know what it's going to be.
Me neither.
Dolan seems excited because it's bourbon barrel.
Oh no, I'm excited for peppermint too. I mean,
Ding, ding, ding.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it smells like Christmas.
Let me take a whiff.
Kentucky Bourbon Barrel
Oh,
Peppermint
yeah, it does.
Porter.
Smell that shit.
That is Christmas.
What?
Yeah.
This smells like straight York peppermint patty.
Aged
Yeah.
in bourbon barrels, 8.2%
Good Lord.
out of Lexington, Kentucky.
401 Cross Street in Lexington,
Oh.
Kentucky, to be exact. Lexington Brewing and Distilling. So they do both.
Yes,
That's where
they
the,
have to in Kentucky,
yeah,
I think.
so. It's one of the few joint brewing and distilling operations in the world.
Yes.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what else besides the Derby? What else is Kentucky known for?
Whiskey.
Yeah. Founded since its founding in 1999, so it hasn't been around. I mean, I would have thought longer.
20-something years?
21 years, yeah. By Irish entrepreneur. That's how you know it's good.
Oh, yeah.
Pierce Lyons. Pierce.
So-
Pierce.
Probably Pierce?
Pierce.
Paris?
P-E-A-R-S-E. Pierce. Pierce.
Paris.
Oh man, I want my house to smell like this beer. Like I'm gonna go home and try to figure out how to do this. Peppermint Scentsies, I don't know.
Yes. I'm a peppermint nut.
Are you?
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Okay. Here's this is interesting, and this was a rabbit hole I didn't think I'd ever go down.
Okay.
Okay. This guy, Mr. Lyons. Don't know how to pronounce his first name. Sorry, Mr. Lyons.
Paris.
Paris. He also owns a company which is a subsidiary. Lexington Brewing is a subsidiary of this company called Alltech.
Okay.
And Alltech is an American company headquartered in Nicholasville, Kentucky, which operates in animal feed, meat, brewing, and distributing.
That's a weird grouping.
All the above.
That sounds like all my interests.
So it's good that there's a connection there because you said Alltech, and I'm thinking like it's like that place in Fremont that owns a coffee shop and an IT company.
So here's how it started. Founded in 1980, Alltech develops agricultural products for use in livestock and crop farming, as well as products in the food industry.
Okay.
So there's the tie,
Yeah.
right? Food industry or whatever.
Sure.
As well as crops, livestock.
And you're feeding these horses probably in Kentucky.
Probably. He's a biochemist. This
yeah.
guy is a biochemist. He has a PhD in biochemistry of yeast.
Yeah. Oh, that's a brewer all day.
Hell yes.
How boring
Biochemistry-
would that class load be? Oh my gosh.
This is going to make it even more boring. From the University of Birmingham in England.
Oh, no thanks.
Could you imagine
No.
how dull that was?
I mean, it's one
no
thing
offense,
to be a Cicerone,
Brits, but
another thing to have a PhD in yeast.
in yeast. How specific is that?
That is
very-
specialized.
So you're gonna have one job when you graduate.
Yeah.
One. That's pretty much it. Well, okay, two. You're gonna make beer or bread.
Yeah.
One of the two. That's really about it. Yeah. Here's the thing. He died in 2018.
Oh.
So
So
we-
R.I.P.
Yeah, so we lost a legend, but his son Mark took over.
Took it over.
Yeah. 2012, the company became part of the world-renowned Kentucky Bourbon Trail.
Yes,
Now-
I had that in my notes.
Do you?
Yes.
I have talked to a few friends of mine that have actually done this. It's a almost 9-day tour. If you walk and or drive, I think you have to walk to some, drive to some.
What about crawl?
You could do that too. I'd be crawling after the first day. So here's where you start.
Okay.
It's 18 distilleries across Kentucky,
No.
complete with its own passport book. So you get this book and they stamp it along
You know,
the way.
Nebraska has a passport book
The
like
beer,
that.
yeah.
But it's not whiskey.
No,
9 days of distilleries,
9 days.
That sounds amazing.
and there's 18 of them, right?
And there's 18.
I could do it in 6.
They suggest you start in Louisville.
Okay.
Okay. And there's a welcome center at the Fraser Museum. You walk to the first 4. Okay, so you walk to the first 2, then you stumble to the last 2. Right? All within a mile of the welcome center. And then from there, it is a 9-day tour laid out and then called
And then
the
it's on.
Bourbon Trail.
Has anybody tasted this yet?
No.
No,
Oh my God.
Okay.
Do it.
I'm going for it.
I'll tell you, this is just like a boozy York peppermint patty.
I mean, Dolan.
That is good.
My goodness.
Wow.
I wish there was some mistletoe right now.
Toby Keith, Willie Nelson, beer for my horses.
Wow.
This is it.
I'll be smooching people after this beer.
I don't understand how they get that much peppermint flavor.
The
in
peppermint
there.
is amazing. The warmth of the whiskey barrel is great. The chocolate, it's thinner than I wanted.
Well, it's a porter, so
It
I
is.
figured it would be a little thinner.
But man, the flavors are on point.
Okay, so here's the thing. I like peppermint, but I don't like mint and chocolate mixed. So I was a little afraid, but I was also excited. But I think I like chocolate whiskey and peppermint mixed.
That's the key,
I would
That's the key.
never, ever have purchased this myself.
right?
Never.
But-
One, label looks way too bourbon-y, and I'm not necessarily a bourbon fan. Two, the horses kind of scare me a little bit, to be honest. And three, porter. I'm not
porter, yeah.
generally a porter fan.
I'm not usually either. And that's why I bought it, actually. So I was really going to try. And Christmas stouts are a thing, right?
Yeah.
We can get those anywhere. There's hardly any porters, and we don't usually do porters here, so that's why I picked this one up.
That is shockingly good.
All right. Porter started maybe 1722 in London
1722.
by Ralph Harwood.
Thank you, Ralph.
It was usually, back then, they called it an entire. That was the beer. Because it was a blend of three different things.
Okay.
It was a ale, a, quote, beer, and a strong ale. Mixed together by the bartender, who actually had to do it for you.
Weird.
And they, stir it up or whatever. Made to order. So it's not like McDonald's, where they got them just sitting there. They got to make it per order for you.
Okay.
So it's a blend, I guess, or also it could be known as the thirds.
Like in wine
Yeah.
terms, it's a blend. Yeah, okay.
So it's those different things, and each proprietor or bartender has his own version of, maybe I want 36% of this one, or whatever. There's lots of different ways to do it, but that's kind of how it started, and it was called a porter because back in that day, and it's still even to like United States train culture, a porter is somebody that moved stuff. Moved
Right.
suitcases or whatever. In London, there's porters, basically deliverers or day laborers, guys that did heavy work at markets or
Porters,
whatever.
yeah, uh-huh.
So after work, those guys would come in and they would order this stronger beer. And they just gave it the name porter because that was the classification of people that were normally buying this stuff at the bar or the pub or whatever.
Cool.
Due to the aging process, it's, at least back then, it wasn't normally brewed at breweries because they usually sitting around a little bit longer, right, to get that darker color. So they used to be brewed right at the pub. So your local bar would brew this beer or the beers to combine together.
Oh.
They would just make it on hand. Because even on the farm, when my grandpa was alive, he used to make his own beer back in the day, like in the 50s. And most people did that in middle of nowhere America, but they did that at those pubs in England and Ireland and that sort of stuff.
Sure.
So that's where it was. In 1776, that's a famous year here,
Never heard of it.
but also it's a famous year in Ireland because porters make it to Ireland. And Guinness
Which is more important?
making their version of a porter, and then that jumps into the the dry stouts that we
Sure.
know today. In the 1700s and 1800s, these were popular. Porters were popular in America, Russia, which is also known now for imperial stouts, or Russian imperial stout, and the Baltic areas.
Okay.
So you'll see in the store Baltic Porter sometimes, or on Untapped, or wherever you're looking.
Yes.
But that's just another style or version of a porter itself. World War I, 1920s, right before that, 1919, kind of falls out of favor with people. They stopped drinking the darker beer for whatever reason, taste change. And then World War I hits, and basically it disappears from the United States at least. No one's making a porter until our friends from the last episode, Anchor Brewing, make one in 1972.
Oh.
They kind of bring it back.
Interesting.
And then there's a resurgence. It's new. It's an old beer, but it's new to people. It's been 50 years, 60 years since it's been around.
Yep.
And it's still around now. There are imperial porters. There's different flavored porters like this one. But most places, if you go to a brewery, most places have a porter or something similar to that, especially if it's like an English style brewery, that sort of thing. You know, not like a super American hazy IPA or milkshakes. They probably won't have one, but somebody that's making traditional beers and lagers and stuff will probably have a porter on tap. And then Britain started brewing them again in 1979. So a few years after it happened here, it went back across the ocean, and places that first started them started up again. And they still do make porters in England. And a lot of English beer for export is porter. You'll see those in the States.
Interesting.
So that's a little history on the porter itself.
Can't say I'm a porter fan at all, but the more I drink of them, the more I enjoy them.
Boulevard has a pretty good one.
Oh.
Just called porter, has a bulldog on it, which is an English, a nod to the English style. And it was one of their first, I think, 4 or 5 standard beers. If you go to Crescent Moon,
Yes.
they were like the initial Boulevard representatives of Nebraska. They were the first to count, and they have up on above the bar on a shelf, they have the first bottles of Boulevard that ever came, and one of them is the Bully Porter. That's what it's called.
Interesting.
I feel like for me, if I'm gonna order a porter, it has to be different, right? Like, like you can't put on your menu just say a chocolate porter and then a chocolate stout. I'm just gonna skip the porter and go to the stout every time. But if you do, a peppermint porter, that's gonna intrigue me a little bit.
Sure.
Or like I really like the peanut butter porter out of Empyrean, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that one's real good.
I feel the same way about stouts, though. Like, if you just have a traditional stout, I'm probably not going to order it. But if it's chocolate stout or imperial or or whatever, raspberry,
those adjuncts.
give me a reason to order it. Now, like we've talked about just over the past couple of weeks, I've kind of migrated back to pilsners, right? Which, if somebody has a pilsner, I will order that immediately now.
Wow.
But that's just. I don't know.
Taste change.
Taste change or whatever. Let me try your lager. Let me try your pilsner. Let me, and then let me try your hazy IPA. Whereas first is give me your hazy, then your sour. Then, right?
Yeah.
So
it's kind of fun how things evolve and change, and that's also one of the issues with breweries is they have to be able to navigate that and like plan ahead. Because, you're not just whipping up beer the day before.
Right.
You got to have it months out usually on your calendar. Release dates and stuff.
a few weeks ago, I think I sent you a picture of this. We went to a brewery, and their newest beer was a wee heavy. And I thought for a second, and I thought, what would Brian do?
Yeah.
I thought he would order the
that,
wee heavy because this is the newest one, and the guy that was taking the order was actually one of the brewers.
Oh.
So in the days of COVID, it's a limited.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of staff and stuff.
Not really, right? And I asked him, and he's like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Do you like these?" I'm like, "Yeah, kind of." He's like, "Give it a shot." I'm like, okay, if the brewer's saying give it a shot, then okay. And it was fantastic. Yeah, it was good.
This thing, the more it warms up, the more it opens up.
It does. You get way more bourbon barrel.
Yeah, it's almost butterscotchy.
Yes.
Isn't that weird? It's like peppermint up front and butterscotch at the end, almost.
It is so Christmas.
It is.
I love it.
And I based it only solely on the label.
Well, it's Christmas colors.
I didn't even look at the bottle, to be honest with you, until right now, and I didn't see the whole winter scene underneath in the red. I just saw the colors. I didn't see the underlying.
You know what? I didn't either.
Snowy tree with the star on top, and
the label's hard to read.
A little bit. All their beers look like this.
Yes.
Like every label is the same. And I had to drive to Iowa to get these. I used to have to. And now this year they're in Nebraska.
Oh.
But before they had 2 beers you could get in Iowa. One was just a straight up stout.
Yep.
And I love a barrel stout. And then I saw these at the beer, wine, and liquor superstore that we have now in town and picked them up there.
It lists the hops on here. Only one hops, Centennial.
Well,
yeah.
So,
for a little bitter.
Yeah.
Just to ground it.
Yeah. Mint, chocolate, roasted malt. Yeah. So that's the label's hard to read, but it is hard to see kind of the Christmas scene. It's very understated, which is fine. I don't think they're not flashy at all. There's nothing flashy about these guys.
Well, if you want to get into the psychology of it, it's because red and green are complete opposites on the color wheel. So
Oh,
it's going to make you
Look at that.
feel that way anyways.
it worked.
Yeah,
I would say this is very 90s design.
it is.
You
Yeah,
know?
very flat.
It looks like it probably hasn't changed a whole lot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The beer of bourbon country, it says on the label.
I could see why. I could see bourbon drinkers. Okay, so
It's sweet, but not overly sweet, too.
It's like a ho 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 and a yee-haw.
and that's how you start the episode.
Yeah, I think so. There it is. So you put a little tinsel on Braden.
Yeah,
That's what this
There you
beer
go.
is in a bottle.
Yeah.
I know a number of bourbon drinkers here in the office that I would be very happy to hand this to, and they would like it.
Yeah.
A lot.
I like it more than I thought I would, that's for sure.
I was scared of this.
And I like the horses on the bottle, embossed. Pretty cool.
I'm a big fan of horse racing just in general.
Yeah.
I don't understand the ins and outs of it.
Yeah.
I just like the competition.
I
of
like
it.
the atmosphere of it.
There's
Yeah.
not much better than a day at the track.
Growing up in Columbus, Nebraska,
Yeah.
town of 20,000, we had the racetrack there at Ag Park, and that was the thing that everybody goes to every year in August, because they'll have the carnival, and then they'll have
Sure.
horse track
Yeah.
racing going on at the same time, and then the 4-H kids can show their animals all at the same time. And they do this for like a week every year in July, and like that's the thing. I would go ride some rides, go say hi to some of my farmer friends who had a pig or some chickens or whatever to show. Then I'd go to the racetrack with my grandpa,
Yeah.
and he
Grandpa
would
knows what's up.
Yeah.
he would say, pick a horse. And I'd pick a horse, and then we'd go up to the little stand and
Yep. Put your money in.
place a bet and come back. And if I did good, I got money for more hot dogs and more soda.
Yeah.
And if I did bad, I got money for hot dogs and more soda.
Oh, so it's win-win for you.
Yeah.
Huh. I always used to go, this is probably, I guess, 10 years ago,
Okay.
in Lincoln at the track there. And every Sunday, me and my friends would go, and you'd get, huge, drafts of beer pretty cheap.
Yep.
And you bet 5 or 6 races, and that's just a good Saturday or Sunday afternoon. It was a lot of fun.
We would go to, when Jenny and I first got married, this was obviously still Riley and Scarlett were around. On the weekends that I didn't have them, and before Maddox, we would go to Horseman's Park when they
Yeah.
would have live racing. And that was a blast.
I've done that before, too. That's fun.
Oh, man, that was fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Just like if you want to go hang out with a bunch of grizzled old smokers,
Yep.
that's the place to go.
Or
The horse track.
there's a place here in town called the Drover.
Yep.
And if you go there for lunch, they have I don't even know how they use the bar area is a bunch of old dudes.
Yeah.
Just like drinking gin.
Yeah.
And
Probably whiskey for their whiskey steaks.
Well,
I bet.
that could be
Yeah.
it too, yeah. Watching horse races on the TVs.
They're like simulcast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's legit.
There's a horse track by my house in Ralston,
Yeah.
Nebraska.
That's Horseman's Park.
Yeah, that's
right?
Horseman's
That's
Park.
Horseman's Park?
Yeah.
Okay. I've drove by it a few times. Obviously, it's been dead this year, but I just saw, just this past, I don't know, it would have been like August, September. I just saw the whole parking lot filled.
They had one day of racing.
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Now it's one day a year,
Yep.
Oh.
but it used to be a lot.
Well, there used to be like 3 days, right? Like a whole weekend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, through the magic of elections, and
Yes.
we have gambling
Yes, we do.
at horse tracks.
That is
So-
what I've heard. So
yes.
Horseman's Park is probably going to get a little bit more busy.
There's a huge one in Lincoln. They built a new one like a few years ago when
Yep.
it came out of the state, like where it used to be where the state fair was down in Lincoln, down
yeah.
by campus. And now there's one that's south of town. And it ran for a couple of years, and then it got shut down. And that's going to be the spot in Nebraska. Once all this gambling stuff goes through,
Nice.
that'll be like the legit place to go and do your stuff.
All right.
So is it just horse racing tracks?
So far, yes.
Okay.
So when
So no-
when gambling passed in Nebraska, it was limited to horse track establishments.
But that means gambling of not just on horse racing.
Right.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Nice.
means table games too. Do we get
I don't- I
blackjack?
think
and,
so.
And poker and stuff.
Hopefully.
Sports betting, sports books is up.
Go Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally. Finally. It's been like 25 years.
No kidding.
Finally.
We only had to have every state around us.
We just have to leave the states. Give them their money for
There
a
you
while.
go.
And when you go just across the river into Council Bluffs, and 3/4 of all of the
cars are
license
Nebraska
plates are
plates,
Nebraska
yeah.
plates.
That's
Yeah.
what's up.
That's
Yeah.
exactly.
And to put it in perspective, if you're not familiar with the Omaha area, Council Bluffs is over the river.
Across the street, basically.
you could be on the
Some
west
parts.
side of
Virtually,
Omaha, and it's only a 20-minute drive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got any more? Any research over there? Otherwise, I have some.
That's all I got
All
for. I could have done way more Kentucky and bourbon.
Yeah,
but
probably.
I kind of figured you might go that route.
Well, I'm going the opposite route.
Oh,
I'm going Christmas because we haven't talked about Christmas.
sweet. All right.
The history of the candy cane. We're getting into it.
Peppermint.
Oh, man.
Exactly.
Screw the candy cane. Give me more of this beer.
Luckily, you filled it up, I see.
Yeah, I'm almost done with it.
I'm glad that I had a 4-pack, and I was going to bring all 4, and I was like, you know what? I'll keep one. And
There
I'm
you
glad
go.
I did.
There you go.
Otherwise, you would have drank it. Originally, candy canes were just white, and they were straight,
Boring.
flavored with sugar only. That was it. Just a sugar stick, basically.
Oh, okay.
Then, in 1670,
Wow.
choir master in Cologne, Germany.
Once
decides,
again, Germans.
yes,
Man, the Germans are awesome.
as he's making them,
Okay.
and it's drying, he decides he's going to bend it in the shape that we know now
Okay.
to resemble the shepherd's crook.
Oh.
And because he does this is like an innovation, and everybody's just like, holy crap, you can do that? Takes off. Go all across England.
Wait. You can do this as I'm making just like a
Yep,
bending
and
motion.
that's what you did.
Guys, I have a new invention.
Watch this. A slight bend. Huge deal. Goes all over Europe.
Look what I can do.
And it even makes it to America. The first documented use of a candy cane to celebrate Christmas is in 1847 by August Imgard. And he's, guess what? A German immigrant.
God, Germans.
Also Swedish.
Man.
So is my family, so I drop in there.
Sure.
He's in Worcester, Ohio. Not Worcester, Mass,
Oh, I
but
would have
Worcester,
guessed.
Ohio.
I would have guessed Mass, but okay.
He puts in their house, they have a Christmas tree, and he has paper ornaments like they did because they didn't have a lot of money to actual ornaments.
Sure.
And candy canes that he made.
Oh.
So he decorates the tree with them, and that's the first time it was ever written down in a paper or journal or anything of candy canes being like a symbol of Christmas time.
Okay.
Then that kind of took off in the United States. In 1920s, this guy named Bob McCormick has a candy company in Atlanta, Georgia. And he's the first one to really like hand them out at Christmas. He had a Christmas party and he gave them to his people that came to the party or whatever. The name of his company was called Bob's Candies. And they were handmade at that time.
Original, but okay.
Well, you know, it was original in the 20s.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
But they're handmade.
Okay.
And his brother-in-law, this guy named Gregory Keller, makes this like an invention, a machine that does it. So instead of having people that have to sit there and do the twist, do the bend, this machine can do it in 1950s.
Okay.
And that's what spreads them all across the United States. They're being mass made then. Because otherwise it was just your local candy person was making candy canes, right? Or your
Sure.
local whoever, confectioner. And this is the guy that makes it so that they can be mass produced and boxed and shipped and sent. And that's only in the 50s. They're the first ones that produce them like that and package them. They're still around. They've been in business for 80 years. So if your parents had candy canes as a kid, or even maybe your grandparents, they probably got them from something like Bob's Candies in Atlanta, Georgia. So for 100 years now, they've been in business.
I don't want to reach here, but I want to say I've heard of. Now you say this, Bob's Candy.
It's possible.
I've heard of this.
I mean, it's a big, at least back then it was a big thing, and it still is today. They are a whole bunch of candy companies that make them now. And I bet you if you've been to like a grocery store or something recently, you've seen them.
Sure.
One of the things that they like to do now is make weird flavors.
That's what I'm about to say. Like
So,
a bajillion flavors.
I wrote down a whole list of the weird
Yes.
flavors that you can buy candy canes in. And I want to hear from you guys if that's a yes or no. Now, I'm guessing most of you are just going to say yes.
Oh, well,
Look, I'll eat anything.
But it doesn't taste
weird.
like, most of these don't taste like, it's not just peppermint and this flavor. A lot of it is just that flavor.
It tastes like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say some of my favorite candy canes I got every year was root beer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my stepmom would get root beer candy canes, and that was our thing. That was our family's thing.
Root beer candy canes.
Yeah.
I've had Sour Patch Kid ones.
Oh.
Oh,
So
Are
it's
they-
a candy cane with the sugary sour coating on them. Those are pretty good.
I would love that.
All right, so
Okay.
there's this website or this brand. I've seen it in stores and online. It's called Archie McPhee,
yeah.
Okay.
and they're the main people that distribute these things.
Okay.
Now, I have seen just last year Oreo ones at Hy-Vee.
I will eat that right now.
It's chocolate and peppermint, and
That's a real thing?
yeah,
Really?
they have them. I saw them last year at Hy-Vee.
Okay.
Here's some of the weirder ones.
Yes.
Mac and cheese.
That's not true at all.
Yes. Mac and cheese candy cane.
What?
Oh, that's a no for me.
Rotisserie chicken.
That's a no for me.
Clam.
Oh gosh.
Clam flavored candy cane.
All right.
Wasabi.
I'd try it.
Yes,
I'd try it.
I'd try that, yeah.
No.
Bacon. That's not that weird anymore.
No.
Here's the thing. Have you
Bacon.
had the bacon flavored pop from
Jones.
Jones?
No.
That is disgusting.
No, it sounds
I've heard
gross.
it's disgusting, but they make so much money off of that.
Oh,
one.
of course they do, because it's bacon flavored.
I've had bacon flavored mints from Archie McPhee,
Okay.
but I have not had the candy cane.
Blech.
Pickle.
Oh.
I'd try it.
Yeah, I know you would.
If I saw those, I would instantly buy them for Dolan.
I've got pickled Doritos right next to me.
That's true. He does.
There you go.
Gravy.
Ooh, depends. Brown or sausage?
Oh.
It's like if you need your gravy on the go,
Oh.
grab one of these candy canes. Sriracha.
Oh, I'd try it.
Okay.
Coffee. I would try that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oreo. I wrote down.
Yep.
Cinnabon.
Oh, yeah.
I would definitely do
Heck
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd try that.
I
Yeah.
love pizza Pringles. They're my favorite Pringle.
You know what?
Yes.
Recently, this ties to this. John Oliver show. It's on hiatus right now. It's come back in February.
Oh,
He did this thing a few months ago about Pringles and how he really wants to see what the rest of Mr. Pringle looks like. And then the rest of it, the next episode they did, which was like 2 weeks ago, was all these artist renderings of what Mr. Pringle looked like.
that's awesome.
But I learned that Pringles don't meet the definition of a potato chip.
No.
What?
They're
And
not.
What?
Here's a
There's
fun
not
fact
enough,
about
like,
Pringles.
potatoes.
What?
They're kosher.
What?
Pringles are kosher. I saw a TikTok of a Jewish guy,
Yeah.
and he said, my favorite kosher snack is Pringles.
Pringles.
Because I can have anything.
Yeah. They're not potatoes.
What?
It's not a
Yeah.
chip.
Yeah.
And also, the guy that created the container for Pringles loved it so much. When he died, he was cremated and his ashes were put in a Pringle can.
Yes.
And that's real. So,
I
pizza
bet
Pringles
he's not
were
the
in.
only one either.
Fantastic.
Ham.
Yes.
Shiitake mushroom.
Oh my
Wait.
word.
Is it just the mushroom, or is it kind of like a ramen take? Because
I just said shiitake mushroom and it had a mushroom on the package.
That'd be like a really earthy dirt.
Yeah, it'd be like
flavor.
beets almost.
yeah, if it was like a Japanese like ramen take, hell
Yes.
yeah. But if it's just mushroom, I don't know.
Well, then you might like this one. Pho.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
Vietnamese down.
Yep.
Lobster.
Yep. Okay.
And the last one I wrote down, eggnog. Which
Oh.
I would probably try.
I
All
would
day,
try that.
all
Yeah.
day.
I enjoy me some eggnog.
I like store bought eggnog. Homemade eggnog is weird.
That's weird.
Do you like eggnog with booze in it?
Sure.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Because they sell those too.
My
Evan Williams makes one. I think.
my uncle every year he gets the it's either vanilla or cinnamon or something crown royal.
Oh.
And then he puts that in the eggnog, and then a little bit of oat milk to kind of break it up.
And then you sleep good at night.
Oh.
Yeah.
So good,
Count those sugar plums.
so good. And then you
dancing.
put the pumpkin spice mix, the nutmeg and
See,
stuff
there you go.
right on top. So good.
We have-
This is what I did with candy canes growing up.
Oh yeah,
Oh, of course.
You had to do that.
You make them a little
Yeah,
shank.
a little,
So
little bit of
sharp.
a shank.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you stab your brother with them.
I stabbed all my friends with candy cane shanks. Yeah, that was the thing.
Best part is the evidence you can eat it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is it never actually. I mean, yeah, maybe I drew blood a couple times, But
Psycho.
I'm so glad I wasn't Dolan's friend in high school.
oh man,
There's 2 kids that have a scar from Dolan's candy cane stabs.
oh, you don't even know. I've been stabbed too a couple times with, I don't know, tacks, candy canes, whatever. But they would break most of the time.
Yeah.
They just shattered. So it was kind of a fun, I don't know, kind of like a titty twister or purple nurple or whatever.
Oh, I see.
I had a friend like this in second grade. His name was Lee Clark.
Okay.
We were friends, and one day I was mad at him for this is second grade, obviously.
Yeah.
I was mad at him for something that happened at recess.
Yeah.
So I walked by his desk after recess, and I punched him in the shoulder.
Yeah.
Wham! Punched him in the shoulder. He took his pencil and stabbed me in the arm.
Oh.
So I don't have any tattoos, but I have.
You got some number 2 lead in there somewhere?
I got some number 2. And as I have grown, it was in the shoulder. As I have grown, it has moved down my
Really?
arm. Yes.
Oh my god.
I will
weird.
show you after the episode. There's a little dot. That's my.
It's moved down.
It's moved down.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been stabbed with pencils, but it never gave me a mark like that.
Yeah. We had to go to Mr. Gieswine's office. He was the principal.
Yeah.
Ed Gieswine.
Yeah.
You know, he was mean.
My mom actually got mad at my buddy's mom because we used to give each other purple nurples all the time. One time I took off my shirt. This was a 3rd or 4th grade probably, and I had bruises, you know, where he'd get me.
Yeah.
And she called his mom and like, you got to tell him to stop or whatever.
Stop twisting my son's nipples.
Oh my gosh. So next day at school, he's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know I was leaving bruises. Can you get me? I was all about it,
You're like,
man.
yeah, I can. Double twist.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
That makes me hurt just thinking about
Yeah.
it.
Those aren't fun.
We were ruthless. I don't know what was so fun about pain 5th grade.
There was
a pain is
headbutts.
Yeah.
And there
nut
was
shots.
5th graders. Yeah,
Oh,
5th
yeah.
graders.
Like kneeing each other in the back, like
Oh, yes.
like the
Yeah.
what do you call it, cornhole or whatever? You
What?
What?
knee them in the tailbone and then like it hurts for.
It's
Is
not-
that only me?
That's not what we call it.
Yeah,
cornhole,
I know
but
cornhole's a
okay.
game.
Oh, okay.
I know it is something different in Kansas, but you don't
a
talk
rhino,
about
a
that.
rhino hump.
Oh boy.
I don't know.
Whoa!
It's called a bunch of different things. Anyway,
Oh boy.
we tortured each other, man.
Columbus, Nebraska, folks.
Yep, there you go.
All right, here's the thing. There have been multiple times when I've been scared of the beers that we were going to do. Like this, there's no way this is going to be good.
Yeah.
Arguably, this might be the best one.
Wow. It's super tasty.
It is.
It is.
8.1% on this guy.
Yeah, and you don't taste that at all.
No.
So on my first drink, I thought, man, this is so good, but I can only have one of them. I could have 2, maybe
Sure.
3.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, lucky for you, they sell them in 4 packs.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think this would give me some pretty severe heartburn. I would have to drink them earlier in the day.
Sure.
Yeah. But,
So,
yeah.
in excuse me, in Lincoln, Boiler Brewing Company, they make at least a couple years ago they made a peppermint stout. It was very similar to this. It was just a
Okay.
little bit thicker, but they served it when you bought a crowler. They would tape 2 of those little candy canes to it,
Oh, yeah.
and what you're supposed to do is just dunk it in your glass,
Oh.
and then every time you drink, it gets a hit of that peppermint comes off in the beer, right?
Yeah.
Or you could just throw it in there totally in the pint glass.
I would
and
do
just
that.
soak it.
Yep.
So if you're drinking something like this and you've got some of those candy canes, or break up some candy canes or peppermint,
Yeah.
throw it in there.
Toss it in there.
Ain't gonna hurt nothing.
That's this is such a weird random fact that I know, but prisoners when they get candy canes,
Oh boy.
they get the mini ones, right? And they break it down into a powder, and they put it in their coffee, they put it in their water, they put it in a lot of things.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, my mom used to be a cook in the Wyoming prison, and that's what she said their favorite thing was to do with candy canes. They just break it up and
Put it in their drinks.
put it in their drinks. Yeah.
We learned something new about Dolan virtually every episode.
Yeah, we do.
She was a cook at Applebee's.
Yes, she was.
She worked in the prison system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Grandpa lives on a mountain.
Yep.
Make hobo pork chops.
Oh,
Yep,
yes.
that's true.
yes,
Yeah.
they
He
do.
is. He's a lot of different things put together. That's for sure.
Okay, Untapped.
Gotta be low.
It is low. 5,523 check-ins.
Okay.
More specialty, I would assume.
Yeah.
Than,
Yeah.
That's a seasonal.
I
so-
wanted to go look up their traditional Kentucky bourbon barrel porter, but I didn't. I just looked up this one. So.
Okay.
So, ironically, 16 IBUs on this. I don't taste. That scale is bullshit. I don't
can't
know.
hardly taste
right,
16.
No. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing there.
No. All right. 5,523 check-ins. Go.
Well, I'm going to give this 4.25.
Personally.
You
personally,
will. Yes.
Personally.
Yes.
So I think because this is probably sought out, I think it's probably a 3.8.
Okay.
I'm going to say 394.
You were going to be surprised. 401.
Wow.
Anything that's average as a 4 is
Averaging a
Good.
4 after over 5,000 check-ins
that's
in an
pretty
average.
good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you taste it, it makes sense to me.
But Dolan's right. Yeah, you are actively seeking out a porter with peppermint. Like you're not just. I would look at this on the shelf and say, nope.
Oh,
Right.
I saw it and I was like, yep.
Well, it's like I said, like you can't just have a chocolate porter and a chocolate stout on your menu because I'll always go for the stout because I want that flavor, right?
Sure.
But if you've got something different in your porter, I will order it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think.
This is as far as I know, the only one. I've never had another peppermint porter before.
I've never had a porter
Plus,
like this.
add the barrel age to it.
Yep.
Yum.
A whole other level.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh boy. Okay. Next week we start week 1 of Drown Out 2020.
What a good idea.
Ooh.
4 weeks of cleaning out the beer fridge. So we've talked about this before. We get so many different beers from employees, staff, people that we know to do on the podcast here.
Yeah.
That we have a secret beer fridge in the back that isn't so secret anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
No.
There at the end of the year. Is this the second year that we've done this?
Yep.
Third year?
Well, second year. Last year we did clean out the beer fridge.
Which was just one episode.
Yes.
Yeah. We had
Yes.
5 beers on that one.
Yes. This year we're gonna do Drown Out 2020.
Yep.
Which is essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna do 3 beers an episode for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Just up
12
the game.
Yeah.
12 beers.
So I don't want that to discourage anyone from sending us beers.
We'll get to it.
We
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely will. And if we just jam them all into the end of the year here, then we're going to talk about them.
Yep.
So next year we hit a state that we've never hit before, New Jersey. We come back to Nebraska, and then we go to our old friend Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got a nice selection from next year. So
Something new, something home, and something familiar.
And the cool thing about breaking this up too is we've kind of not fully, but we've kind of separated them into genre, I guess. Not like types of, beers that are good maybe to drink back to back.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, my friends, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
This has been fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
If we could do 4 more weeks of Christmas beers, I would do that. But because they're out there,
Yeah, they are. It's
seek
one of my
them
favorite
out.
times.
Yeah, find
Yeah.
them and try them out. If you do try a fun one, I wouldn't be opposed to doing a Christmas beer after Christmas. If you find one that
Yeah.
you're like, wow, this is totally different,
Yeah, let us know.
let us know. Send it to us. If not, maybe we can find it here, and we'd be happy to do it on the show. Mm-hmm. So, all right, boys, we're not going anywhere for a while.
Let's drown out 2020.
Thank you for listening to A Beer with Atlas. Special thanks to our brand team for producing the show. Each episode of A Beer with Atlas is powered by Atlas MedStaff, an industry leader in travel healthcare staffing.